I'm drinking Crunkle Sam. Wendell, this stuff is called Crunkle Sam. It's weird.
It's a corruption of the English language.
That was almost a corruption of... Let's show everyone what's really cool this week. These amazing Doom sculptures are probably the coolest thing of the week. I love the fact that he's used 2 old motherboards for the side plates here.
Those are PCI slots. I see PCI slots.
That's all they could... That's all we had back in those days. Well, I guess we had some even older... Even more legacy stuff than that. PCI is kind of... Yeah, anyway. So that's the coolest thing of the week. And now let's get down to business and talk about Inbox by Gmail. So Inbox is not going to be replacing Gmail. Inbox is kind of an amalgamation of all kinds of things that Google was working on before, but kind of phased away. What was the one, Google Wave, or what was it? Is that the one that's called Wave? I think it was. Yeah, was that it? They had all those weird things they worked on over the last couple of years. Well, anyway, they've taken a lot of those ideas and they've put it into Inbox. Now, it's a new way to look at your email, and they basically use some algorithms to say, like, hey, all these purchases should go together, or hey, we see that you're traveling, so let's just group all your travel stuff together. And another interesting feature about this is you can snooze things, and you can snooze things to not only times, but you can snooze them to locations. So let's say you're out and about and you're on your phone or whatever, and you get an email and you realize it's a work email. Well, you can just click snooze until I'm at work. And then when you get to work, it's like, oh, I can see you're at work now. So it brings that email back up to the top. Now there's already, is there similar functionality? I don't use Exchange or anything like that, but I know there's similar functionality where you can snooze, emails for a couple of days or have them pop back up, or reminders and that kind of thing. You can set up reminders. But Wendell, do you know if there's anything like right now that allows you to snooze things until you get to a certain location?
I'm not sure if there's anything that will let you snooze for a certain location. There are some features that are kind of like this in Outlook, when you've got Outlook 2013 combined with Exchange, some rules you can create and some add-ins, some cool stuff you can do, at least on the mobile Exchange API. But a lot of people on Android use Tasker for that, I think, so that when you get home, it'll do certain things, or when you get to the store, it'll do certain things. It's like, oh, you're at the store, you probably want your store list. And so people have gone crazy with Tasker, but this is actually sort of interesting because Google's saying, well, how can we bring that to the masses so that it's not uber nerds having to set this up on their own? It's something that you can get. And so this is sort of combined with Google's other initiatives, this sort of material design thing that they've adopted. And it also, like, it's like, how does Google know what? Because I'm always curious about how these things actually work, because Google's not smart enough to read your messages and understand. A lot of this relies on semantic markup in the messages, RDFA. In the last few months, Google has gotten huge about a format called RDFA, and that's sort of a semantic markup. So when you're on a website and like you're talking about yourself, it's like, hi, my name is Bob. You can surround name is Bob with some semantic markup that lets Google know that that's a person's name. And this is really what powers this kind of thing, and this is what lets Google sort of simplify the information. But it also deepens Google's search, because instead of having to come up with AI to figure out the context of all these messages, it means that Google can rely on this metadata that's in the message itself to get the context that it needs to better categorize and better search. And so this card system that they've been working on for quite a while is just the latest example of that.
I mean, you can do reminders on this as well. So there's just a lot of features. I'm going to have to try this out. I requested an invite, so if I get an invite, I will actually probably jump in and show you guys around. I'll have to put little black bars over my email address, but God, there's probably going to be a lot of really important information there. But I want to show you guys what it does. Maybe I'll just give you guys a report. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. More Google stuff. The Nexus 6 and the Nexus 9 are upon us, as is Android 5.0 Lollipop. And so there we got those two new devices, HTC and Motorola. Now the HTC is making the big guy, the Nexus 9, and this is going to be a 4:3 screen. and it's 9 inches, so it's going to be a pretty large device. 2048 by 1536, that's 245 pixels per inch, and it's using the NVIDIA Tegra K1. It's a 2.3 gigahertz CPU. You can get it in 16 or 32 gigabytes, and that's not enough. 16 and 32, that's not enough these days.
It's fun to note that resolution is exactly the iPad 3 Retina display. I mean, it's probably the same LCD panel, in all honesty.
You know what, I can almost guarantee it is, because these, I mean, while they're decently they're decently expensive, but they're only $399. Compare that to the price of the original, iPad 3 when it first came out. I'm not sure what it was, but I know it wasn't $399. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then, of course, we do have the Nexus 6 coming out, which is a 5.7-inch monster. They say it's only 5.7 inches. It's got a 2.7 gigahertz Snapdragon 805 quad-core, and you can get that one in 32 or 64 gigabytes. So why is that one got 32 or 64? Come on, why can't we have that on our Nexus 9? That just makes no sense to me. Weird.
Or micro
it also has
SD
yeah, I don't know. We also have a 1440p monitor on this one. It's 2560 by 1440p, 493 pixels per inch. So that's not bad. And it's also 16 by 9. It's freaking large. I kind of want to put this side by side with the OnePlus One, because the specs are somewhat similar in some of the ways. I think the CPU is actually a little faster. Battery life, I think's like 100 milliamp hours better, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's also very similar to the brand new 2014 Moto X. And Wendell, you've got one of those. How you liking that thing?
The Moto X, yes, 2014. I like it a lot better than my old S3, that's for sure. I like that it's basically a stock operating system. It remains to be seen how often Google's going to update it. I would like to be able to root it, but apparently it's really, really locked down, at least the version that I have. There is an unlocked version, so I think I may be able to trade the one that I have for one that's not locked down, because there are very many things that I would like to do to it. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'm not good with proper names. If you watch a whole bunch, I always get the names of things mixed up. It's like, oh yeah, it's the Model 3 Cuisinart. It's like, no, it doesn't even, those words don't mean anything to anybody. I've got a picture in my head, but you guys can't see the picture in my head, or if you could, that would be creepy. That would be bad.
Well, it's still got Android 4.4.4, which is, I think, KitKat. And they haven't given us those have Android 5 on them, right? Am I wrong? No, the Moto 2014 has Android 4.4, but do these have Android 5?
Android 5 is not supposed to be out until November 3rd.
Okay, so we're waiting on that. I imagine they're going to get updates almost instantaneously, because these are Nexus devices, and those do seem to have the most vanilla versions of Android. And your Moto X 2014 has a very, very vanilla version of Android. We've got a review on that coming up very soon. We had Bean come by the office. He's got access to phones and that sort of thing, so he came by and was nice enough to show us the Moto X. Only thing we need to do now is do a little 4K video test, and then we'll have our review up. But Android 5 is not out, but it'll be out very soon, and there's some interesting new things that are going to be happening with Android 5. Let's see if I can bring up a list of things here. You know, I had a list. It was pretty cool, but I don't know what I did with it.
I'm drawing a blank on it, but there's some sort of amazing app that lets you customize everything, like the lock screen and the whole 9 yards, and it's this pluggable architecture. And I think I've got the app, but it doesn't do me any good because I don't have root, which is sort of disappointing.
Yeah.
Exposed installer, that thing, yeah.
Well, the big thing is that now you can have a couple of different profiles on your phones. And normally it was like a tablet thing. You can have a couple different profiles on your phones. But Dalvik is going to be pretty much a thing of the past now, and they're going to be replacing that with Art. And it seems to me like Art is more of a runtime environment similar to what they already have on Apple. It's going to make things a lot faster and smoother. And above and beyond all that, now they're going to enable 60 FPS animations to make things just very milky smooth. So that could be very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. The thing with Apple is because they've got their closed ecosystem. There's only one type of CPU. You know you're locked into whatever they're doing on ARM. And so when you compile from Xcode, it's binary native to that. With Google, we're talking about Java. It's bytecode. Dalvik was, you know, Google's attempt at making that run really fast. Art now, when you install an application, the phone is basically going to take that bytecode and make it machine specific at time of app installation. So theoretically the performance is going to be better. It seems better. Even experimenting with that on CyanogenMod on my old S3, it seemed like the S3 was running better with Art, but some applications had weird issues.
All right, let's quickly check out our sponsor. This time we're going to talk about Squarespace. Now, we use them for our store because it's all about the content. It puts the content forward, and that's what really matters here, the content. We're trying to create our identity on the internet, and they've made it very easy for us. If we want to go in and add a color, add a size, it's, just add different options. It's just super easy. Integrates with ShipStation in the back end. Now, we're now on Squarespace 7, and the same philosophy is applied here. They want the tools to kind of get out of the way so that you can really create the site that you want. They've streamlined everything and made it just very easy to create sites on the fly. And above and beyond that, they've improved their mobile app so that you can just use Android or iOS, and there you go. Go ahead, edit, create, check your analytics, add images, blog, whatever. You can pretty much create your entire site from your mobile device if you wanted to. If you're a developer, you're going to have Git access, so you can get in there and mess with everything. It's not just a website full of flashy templates that lock you into a certain thing. You can get in there and do everything if you want to, but if you want to go fast and just get things done, you can do that as well. Some of you guys out there need some professional images. Well, now a couple of clicks will get you a Getty image. Cover pages is also new, and the idea here is sometimes you only need one page. So there it is. There's your one-page ID. Very simple and clean. There's now integration with Google Apps for email, docs, spreadsheets, everything. So check that out. I mentioned that they were listening to the audience for feedback and template ideas. They've also partnered with some of the quote-unquote world's most inspiring people. And check this out. This is Alex Hanold. He's one of the best free solo climbers in the world. He needs a nice, clean, and simple website. But here he is free soloing up the side of the granite at Yosemite. Very, very cool to watch. I mean, even the behind the scenes is kind of unbelievable on this. So I think it's cool that they're doing stuff like this. But you guys can go down and get the template that they designed with him in mind, and then customize it to your heart's content. Someone else that they partner with is St. Luca. He does pop. I'm not familiar with his music, but you guys could check out that template as well. So there's a lot of new templates and a lot of new things that you guys can do with Squarespace. Keeps growing, keeps getting better, keeps getting more robust, and yet at the same time, it's not getting clunky and it's not getting in the way. It's all about staying out of the way so your content is forward. It's all about staying away so that the user experience on the back end is streamlined. So that's Squarespace. Now back to the regularly scheduled tech. All right, let's lighten up a little bit and talk about some silly stuff like 3D full body scanning booths to make figurines of yourself. They're essentially selfie scanners. Is that what we need in our society? We've come this far, and then the cell phone came out, and then everyone starts taking selfies, and we make a few more advancements, but it all comes back to selfies. Man, this is ridiculous. Anyway, so I guess this is in where the UK. There's a group called Shapify, and they made this thing called the Shapey. It's a 3D printer. It scans your body in about 12 seconds, and then it prints out like a lifelike, figurine of you. That's pretty crazy.
Selfies do not make any sense to me at all.
What do you think? You want to get a bunch of you and send you out for Christmas gifts?
No, God no. It's just, why is this even a thing? It doesn't even make any sense. It's like, I don't even... I'm imagining Grandpa Simpson on The Simpsons, or no, it wasn't. It was Principal Skinner or somebody. It's like, I used to be with it, and then what it was changed, and now I'm scared and afraid of it. And it's like that with selfies. It's just no.
Oh man, I'm already. These are going to come to the USA, and I can already see stuff in the newspaper that starts with Florida man takes off pants and exposes, and then and has 3D printed things sent to minor. I can already see all that happening, but it's going to start with Florida man. I guarantee it. I know it to be true. I've seen it in dreams.
Florida man is in critical condition after something selfie 3D scanner. It's like, what happened? I have to
bath salts and 3D printing do not mix. I'll tell you that right now.
3D
so
printed bath salts? I think we've got our new .com idea.
Ooh. Speaking of .coms, let's take a look at Ello. I just yelled. It probably peaked everything. But Ello is a new social media startup that aims to pretty much take the piss out of Facebook. So Facebook right now, they make all their money by harvesting your data and advertising to you and then selling off your data. So the couple of guys here who have made Ello, here's the co-founders, Lucian and Todd. And look at this. I've got to go down and show this design for them. It is too perfect. It really worries me that it's so perfect. They've got their goofy looking figurines everywhere. They're bright colors. What are these things called? Oh my God, everyone in the comments is going to yell at me, especially the people from more urban areas who love these Japanese ugly dolls, like the rabbits that smoke and stuff. God, I forgot what they're called. Anyway, so there those guys are. They've really done a good job with the style of their office and all that. Anyway, they just got $5.5 million, and they really want everyone to know that they are committed to your, keep making sure that this is not going to be something where you're going to be a resource. They want it to be a real social network that values its users. So they signed a legally binding contract that says that they will not, hoover up your data and all that sort of thing. I'm sorry, I went British there for a minute. And they also are going to not show any advertisements. Now, before we even get in and read all this, I'm sure they're going to come up with a way here, to monetize this thing. But of course they are. They're the ones with the money, and they're the ones who are making Ello. How on earth are you going to monetize something without advertisements or without, harvesting any data, especially if it's a service that relies upon users that go there and submit data? I don't know. Wendell, do you have any ideas of how they could monetize this? Maybe we could just go back and forth on this.
I think they could come up with some really, there are non-evil ways to monetize things. And I don't know why this hasn't happened. It's like advertisers are like, we need to surreptitiously spy on you to find out what you're interested in. If I'm in the market for something, it's like, I want to buy a new car. These are the rough parameters. You, legion of people that want to sell me cars, grovel for my business. I don't think I would have a problem with that. I mean, if they could contact me through the network, and they didn't, and I knew that they didn't have access to any information that I did not elect to share with them directly, if all they knew about me was, roughly where I was in the case of a vehicle because of delivery, but for Amazon type services, it wouldn't matter because of delivery services, then I think that from a capitalize on that, that type of a model, I think you could conquer the world. If it's in terms of the market segmentation and that kind of thing, it's like, well, I'm not going to pay retail for that, but if you could get it for me between X and Y, I would probably pay for it. But I'm patient, and if the algorithm or the software or the salesperson or whoever is dealing with that and looking at that data, I have no problem sharing that directly with salespeople. In corporate purchasing and in dealing with companies, it's like I need to deal with company X and company Y, and I'm getting competing quotes for ABC, XYZ. It's how it happens in the corporate world, so why can't we bring it to the individual world? A network like this could totally monetize on that kind of thing. But
wouldn't that kind of be, like advertising? Because it feels like if they were to do something like that, where they hook you up with people who could potentially sell you something, isn't that just a different form of advertising? And wouldn't that go against their credo? That's kind of what bothered me.
It totally is a different kind of advertising, but it's one where I feel like I'm in control. I am soliciting service providers for certain kinds of services. It's really not, if you think about Craigslist or Angie's List, this kind of thing kind of works, but Craigslist and Angie's List are a lot clunkier. They are the GeoCities of that type of service. There's not really a WordPress.com, a Web 2.0 version of that. But this social network could be that, maybe.
I don't know.
I'll give you a good example. I thought of this. I was looking for a present for somebody, and I was browsing Etsy, and I found some makers on Etsy that made the kinds of things that I was interested in, but I didn't really see anything that was exactly what I wanted. So I did a little write-up about what I was looking for and sent them emails, or sent them the contact things through Etsy to contact the seller. And I was like, I'm looking for something like this, and you're going to have to make it, and it's going to be a mess, and blah, blah, blah. But you got a couple of months. I'm not in a super big hurry, and I'm hoping to spend this much, between this much and this much. And this was like a month or 2 month long process because I was looking for a present, but that actually worked out really well. And that kind of thing on the social network, I could see working. I mean, I could see that kind of thing would be a good way to monetize it without being insanely intrusive.
I don't know. I'm still extremely skeptical. I think they're going to have to sell T-shirts or something, or charge a monthly fee, or maybe sell directly something to their users. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a marketplace between users, like almost like a little eBay type thing, but maybe for digital goods. Like I don't know. I'm just throwing up ideas. All that stuff still sounds slightly like advertising and marketing, and they did sign their credo saying they weren't going to do it. So I just don't know how exactly they're going to pay the bills. Anyway, I remember the name of the stuff that I was supposed to remember. It's Kid Robot. That's what all that stuff is over there. Anyway, now you guys don't have to yell at me in the comments, but you are more than welcome to yell at me in the comments. I enjoy it. What's next on the menu here? Hoverboards. How about that? An actual hoverboard that really works. And it's on Kickstarter. So that's exactly where I want my first hoverboard to come from Kickstarter. Something that I've never seen before. I've conceived, a hoverboard, but yeah, it's on Kickstarter here. There's a video here of it working. Hovers about an inch off the ground, and apparently works. So for how many thousands of dollars here is this going to cost? Several thousand, I imagine. Oh, I've forgotten how much it's going to cost. $10,000. Yeah, $10,000. Yeah. Interesting. You're not sure about this?
All
right, moving right along.
They're operating on mirror finish smooth. I don't know what do you call that? A half pipe? It's not really a half pipe.
Yeah, it's like something.
Third pipe.
We're probably going to sound like idiots. Look at him there. He's trying to do a reverse stale fish.
He's in a lab coat. What's wrong with him?
He's got a lab coat on, and he's never going to be able to pull off a reverse stalebone tailfish ollie 280 480 supreme stalebone nose grab. Never going to happen. All right, let's just move on to the next article about Elon Musk, something we actually can pretend to know something about at least. So Elon Musk and Tesla Motor Company, if you're unfamiliar with them, they're the company that's making the electric cars out in California. Anyway, they decided to go ahead and open source everything. They released all their patents. Several months ago, we mentioned that they're releasing some of their patents, and now they're releasing all their patents. This is a pretty big deal.
We think it's a pretty big deal, but we don't actually know. It's probably a pretty big deal, but Elon Musk, I mean, there are trade secrets and other things that Tesla has. So, they're not giving away all the cows. They're not giving away the farm or anything like that. But I guess they feel like that they're so far ahead in the electric car industry that they can sort of give that away. The thing that this might really do for them really probably has nothing to do with the patents. It's probably some allies in the electric car business, because Michigan just signed and said, "Oh, Tesla can't do direct sales. They got to go through a dealership." But there's no
because Michigan knows exactly what to do to get more jobs in Michigan.
Yeah, Detroit's in Michigan, as it turns out, and Detroit still has some problems, I guess. Something. We've all seen RoboCop.
I haven't seen RoboCop. Never seen RoboCop. We just lost a viewer.
Well, in RoboCop, I'll give spoiler alert. In RoboCop, Detroit is a vast human wasteland, and it may have been,
maybe a true story.
Yeah, with the whole lack of, Chrysler and all those companies have gone under. There's not much left there. So
prophetic.
Direct sales, but direct sales, even if that were well-meaning, as far as Tesla sales goes, there's no dealership that's equipped to deal with selling electric cars because they're completely unlike any other cars. So maybe if some other companies start doing it, if BMW or Ferrari or somebody starts doing something with electric cars, maybe you can see a dealership that sells, Teslas and something else. It seems to be a pretty popular combination right now that the really high-end dealers that sell things like Ferraris will also sell Teslas. That's true of at least a couple of a couple of things that I read on the internet is that there are a couple places that specialize in acquiring a Ferrari, but I don't know that those are so much car dealerships as just concierge services. You just go to them and like, I would like a very expensive car, and they're like, very good, sir, we will take care of it. It's like, all right, cool, thanks. And so
I don't know that it's really. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you know what I'm thinking about this? I'm thinking Tesla. I think he needs competition at this point, or they should. Tesla's not a he, but I think Tesla needs competition at this point, and they need some. Well, they need some peers out there making electric cars. Right now, everyone's still running fossil fuels, and the few people that are making something that's electric, they're making hybrid cars. They need cars that are purely electric, boogie woogie, so that they can have stations that have batteries, or battery rechargings, or fast chargings, or the little battery swap out things. That's what they need. They need this to become big enough so that you can get an electric car and know that you can just drive anywhere in the country and be able to swap out your battery or recharge your battery almost instantaneously. I think that's what they're doing here. They're trying to get more people into this, and then they're saying that we're doing this because in the spirit of open source, and we want to push this into the future and get a vehicle that's better for the environment and all that sort of thing. Well, yeah, that's true, but also from a business standpoint, they really need everyone else to be doing the same thing and using using similar compatible batteries and that sort of thing. I think that's kind of weighing into this.
They really need for Randy to understand how to sell an electric car. Really, that's what it comes to.
All right, let's take a look at another car that's not electric, but it runs on salt water. So yeah, I'm going to be very, very, very skeptical about this. It looks like it's coming out of Sweden, and there's a very sexy commercial for it here. It's got the doors that open like the fancy Mercedes, and they're saying that it gets to 100 kilometers per hour in under 3 seconds, and it's just this really fancy car that runs on salt water using a nanoFLOWCELL battery. And it's just the details are not there for me yet, but if this really works and it runs on salt water, then wow. I mean, the commercial is pretty sexy. Somebody spent some money on that damn commercial. I don't know. After looking over this, there's not enough evidence for me yet. I would have to drive it. I'm gonna be Judas on this one. I don't know. It's a pretty car though.
It seems to all be a rendering, and I'm not sure what to make of the fawns. The last picture on the website.
That's the guy. I think that's the guy who made it. He's what's his name? I'm pretty sure that's the guy behind this. He's like Elon Musk from Switzerland, but maybe not from Switzerland. I think this is just in Switzerland.
At this point, I would be more inclined to believe it if the guy was like, no, it's not salt water. It actually runs on powdered sugar and kitty litter. It's like, oh, yeah, very believable.
What if this is a thing and people are going to laugh at us? Salt water. I'm not saying it's not a thing. I just want to see the rest of it. That's pretty cool if they figured it out. So, yeah.
It runs on salt water, but we neglected to mention the other chemicals you put in the salt water to cause the chemical reaction that you get the chemical energy from. You just need salt water as well as exotic components X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, you gotta have salt water, and then it's 2 parts unobtainium, and then a little bit of boron, and then an orange for good measure. So those things may mix up together, and yeah, it'll run forever and never get scurvy. Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move on and talk about Xhail. I'm going to mention this quickly because I think it's amazing.
Xhail's interface.
Xhail kind of blew me away. The way this works is they've created an algorithm that will write a song based upon words. So you go to the website, or you go to the actual program, Xhail. This is in, I believe, closed alpha or beta right now. And you type in some words like happy or sad or fantasy or whatever, and then it generates a song. And then you can actually edit the song. Here's one of the songs they generated. You can go in and I'm talking over this guy. He's talking in the background. But there's all the different wave tracks here. You can go in and delete some of them. If you don't like one particular track, you can replace the instrument. Maybe there's some annoying bells. You can replace it with a piano or an acoustic guitar or whatever. Maybe it's playing something that you don't like. You can regenerate each track, or you can just regenerate the song entirely until you get what you want. So it's pretty wild. What I want to show you guys here toward the end is a fantasy movie that they put together and use this. This isn't a generated piece of music. And they did go in and add some accents here and there, like where they added accents for the impact, they added accents for the cannon blast and that sort of thing. But other than that, all the music is 100% generated, and all they did was type in the word fantasy. So I'll go ahead and play some of this real quick. So yeah, I think this is going to revolutionize indie films and also YouTube. And I think it may also displace quite a few, I guess, quite a few musicians and quite a few score writers, which is a sad thing, I suppose. Maybe. I don't know. I think people can do whatever they want. If they want to make scores and stuff, they can. But this is going to put a couple of low-budget ones out of business, anyway.
This is the reality TV show of music creation, let's be honest.
I don't know, that last song sounded pretty good. The heavy metal song sounded awful. If you guys go to the middle of the video here and you listen to the rock and roll song, it's like, it's terrible.
I mean, isn't that the case with reality TV shows too? I mean, if you've got a million monkeys in a room with a typewriter, eventually one of them is going to produce something interesting.
That's probably true. But for people who are using, you know, YouTube and they're just selecting songs, this will give them the ability to use a song that nobody's ever heard before. And then the song is also, they basically fingerprint that song. If you commit and say, hey, I want to use this song, you commit to it, it fingerprints it, and it tells all the other copies of the software, hey, this song has been fingerprinted, so don't ever write anything that's just like that. And so you'll have a unique piece of music for your YouTube video, or your graduation video, or, you know, your dad with camera video running around in the streets for 6 hours pointing at everything that moves. You know, dad with camera is out of hand these days. Actually, it's probably even worse now thanks to cell phones and stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about cord cutting, and let's also, well, we're going to talk about this in terms of GFast, because GFast looks like it's going to be a thing now. What is GFast? Well, it's gigabit over copper through DSL, but only for about a foot. That's what they don't tell you. It's about a foot. It's a little bit longer than that, but it's not long. But it's in many cases it's long enough to go from a fiber line that's in the road to your house and give you 700-800 megabits per second throughput. Pretty damn nice.
I think it's nice that this article actually does mention that it's like, well, AT&T has designed their network in such a way that, you know, most people are within 1,000 feet of a fiber node, and then, 300 meters of a fiber node, and then it talks about, oh, this is really designed to work from 19 to 35 meters. And it's like, really, guys? I mean, all this belly aching. How many billions of dollars of R&D went into this? And it's like, we can't really run 19 meters of fiber, really. I mean, we can't do that, really, really. I mean, come on.
But hold on, the copper's already there. You want to use the copper because it's already there.
I'm pretty sure I can put this in another way that everybody can understand. It's like, we've got this wonderful, nice, drinking, clean, potable water out here by the road, but we're not going to run a pipe for this drinking water from the road to your house. That's just too much. You got to do it yourself. I am pretty sure that if you pitched it that way, that everybody would just be like, all right, sounds good. You can go and rent a trencher. I have rented a trencher before. It is like every single community on planet Earth that you can go to your local, heavy equipment rental place, which is probably a 10 to 30 minute drive, and say, I would like to rent a trencher. And it's like $50 to $100 a day. You need it for like 4 hours, and you need to make sure there's nothing else buried. And then it just cuts a 1 inch wide and like 2 foot deep sort of trench in the earth. I don't know. It's the name, trencher.
And it's super
you can lay
fun.
a cable in it. Yeah, you're done. If you're in a building, there's not many buildings where you would only have 19 meters of copper. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't even understand that. That doesn't even... really, it's like, oh, I'm in an apartment building. Well, you were at 19 meters before you even got in the front door. So this is just dumb.
Hold on. It could give the existing infrastructure a little bit of a boost in the sense that, okay, let's say something is a couple hundred yards away. You may still be able to get 100 or 200 megabits per second, which is probably better than what a lot of people on DSL already have, because a lot of those guys are at 5 and 10, maybe 20 megabits per second. So if they can just implement this, and then send them a new thing. I forgot what the company. It's what's the company that made this thing? It's GFast. Why can't I find the company that made this? It was on the Ars Technica article. Where did I put it? What is it?
It's like you don't understand how terrible the phone lines are even in everything except the very largest cities. I mean, okay, let's be honest though, just a little bit. If you want to talk technical, they're really talking about copper that is a Cat 3 standard or better, which is basically, we're talking like 1980s. And in metropolitan areas, there's still a lot of copper wire used for phone lines, which is like lead-coated cloth. It is literally cloth, a copper strand wrapped in cloth, coated in lead, and that, you know, your phone line runs over that. And there's no amount of praying to various deity with some sort of magical technological solution is ever going to work for that. And all this belly aching, we could have already run fiber. We could have run fiber like 3 or 4 times now. So it's completely silly. It's really
we can't run fiber. We got to save all that money so we can buy each other. That says the ISPs. We got to buy each other. All right.
It's so crazy. It's like, oh, we got a new technology that we can squeeze a little bit more life out of the copper, and it's like, no, let it go. just do it. It reminds me of like a 7-year-old that doesn't want to do their chores or something.
You know what? But they get to give you a new router. Don't you want a new router? And the new router, you can't log into this router. You've got to call up your wonderful ISP. They've got the best customer service ever, I hear. And then you get to talk to them, and then they can log into your router from their remote location and change a few things. If you want to, turn on Wi-Fi or turn off Wi-Fi, they can do that for you. That's what all the new routers are like. So you just need that. Maybe a new modem too. I don't know.
I've got news for you. These telephone lines, it's real easy to tell what your DSL experience is going to be like. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call somebody. And if it sounds like the other person on the other end is being thrown down a flight of stairs, it's probably not good enough to run gigabit internet. Because if you can hear the interference and the clicking and the weird stuff on the line, chances are you're not going to get gigabit speeds. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
I thought whenever I called someone, I thought that they, like AT&T or Comcast or whoever runs that, I thought they had somebody on duty there to throw them down the stairs while they were on the phone. I thought that's what we'd come to. Customer service is amazing.
This is so ridiculous. I don't know why it's so funny today. It's just getting all these wonderful images in my head. Like, this is ancient Egypt. This is the public telephone infrastructure in America is about in technological scale is about as old as the pyramids at Giza. And so this is like the infrastructure that we're using is 2,000 to 10,000 years old or something, and it's like, oh, we just need to squeeze a little bit more life out of it, and it's like this is remnants of a long dead civilization. We really need to learn to do it for ourselves.
Oh man, speaking of a long dead, well, this is a terrible transition, but let's talk about the. Remember the FBI called me. He was like, "Hey man, Google and Apple, if you guys encrypt your devices, you are going to destroy the world." So the NYPD Commissioner, he says that he vows to push against Apple and Google for the smartphone encryption, and he's basically echoing the same things. Like these guys are they're Google and Apple with their encryption on their phones. They're essentially enabling criminals to commit terrible crimes. And in fact, the only person who would possibly use something like this must be a criminal. And here's a quote from him: "For them to consciously, for profit and gain." What's that say? Oh, let me read that again. For them to consciously, for profit and gain, to thwart the legal constitutional efforts, shame on them. I think that's I don't even think that's good grammar. So that's who we're dealing with. These guys here. Luckily,
encryption.
Yeah, they have. I don't even know. Let me go on to the Congress here. Luckily, the Congress has been beat enough by public opinion that they are coming out and saying, "Listen, you guys, the FBI, NYPD, there is zero chance that we're going to force Apple to decrypt their phones." So that's a really positive thing. And this is just a few people. Senator Ron Wyden, of course, he's always the one. Interesting. I've got this thing where you hover over people and it shows you everything that's given them money. And then Republican Zoe Lofgren. So Darrell Issa. So, interesting. So yeah, a lot of A lot of interesting people in the Congress on the right side of this thing, so that's a good thing. I think mainly that's because they've been beat up so much by the public opinion. But yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, move on. Let's take a look at Apple's newest OS, Yosemite. So Yosemite is really watching everything you do. Like, well, it's mainly with their new search. They've got their where is it? May not even be new. Let me play this video so you guys can see. Mute. There it is. The Spotlight search right there. So whenever you use the Spotlight search, Apple, they monitor your searches, and then they also monitor your location. And you have a unique ID that identifies you, and they haven't come out and clarified if that ID changes. Oh, let me say that again. It changes every 15 minutes, but they haven't come out and said whether or not the changes are linked together. You know what I mean? Like, is it still you? They pretty much still know where you are, but it pinpoints you like more than just an IP address, like longitude and latitude. It like really pinpoints you. It's crazy. And above and beyond that, it doesn't just keep track of your searches. Let's say you start typing something in and then you're like backspace. There's a keylogger. They keep track of every single keystroke that you make. That's freaking creepy. Let's say that you could be there typing something terrible and then you change your mind and you're like, that doesn't sound right. If I type that, FBI agents are probably going to kick down my door. Well, they have records of all of that stuff. I don't know what they're going to do with those records. Probably use them for marketing or something. No idea. But they have it. Luckily, you can go into your settings and disable a lot of this stuff. But there's several hoops to jump through, and I bet most average users are not going to go in and being able to disable this stuff. This is also something that you're going to be seeing on iOS as well. So just know that you are being watched.
In light of Apple's, we're pro privacy, except we're gonna turn all this stuff on. It's like, Linux, here I come. I mean, I'm kind of already on Linux, but I need to move all of my systems to Linux as opposed to just some of them.
If every freaking application that I use on a daily basis would work on Linux, like the Adobe Creative Suite, that's all I need. That and FooBar and my Steam games, and I'm done with Windows forever. Well, OBS is coming over there now. I think they've got a beta going on, but man, Linux is looking better than ever. Anyway, speaking of Apple and their encryption, China has a better idea. They're just going to run a man-in-the-middle attack. So right now, if you're in China and you're using an Apple device, your information is not going between you and Apple. It's going between you and between possibly someone in the Chinese government. They're not sure who's doing this, but that looks like what's going on. And then it's going to go to Apple. So yeah, just classic man in the middle. They're like, you know what? The devices themselves are encrypted. We can't get access to them, so we'll just set up a little man in the middle attack. It's very easy, and then everything will be routed that way. It's great. Works out for us just fine. Oh, damn it! Now the USA is going to get some ideas from this.
At least China's like, hey, we're going to do this, and the USA is like, oh, this is cool. We're just going to surreptitiously take over the infrastructure from the inside, and no one's even going to know that we're in the data center. I
mean, I don't know if they actually came out and said, hey, we're going to do this, but they're doing it. And it's like, if anyone says that, hey, you guys are doing that, they'll probably be like, yeah, we're doing that. All right, let's talk about a little bit of hardware, shall we? Samsung has some new 20 nanometer DDR4, and it's clearing the way for 128 gigabyte DIMMs. We saw some 128 gigabyte DIMMs at Computex last year from AData, and they were just stacked in a very interesting way. This is more of a standard style stacking with the memory modules on there. But yeah, and it's still going to be able to use the 1.2 volts, probably because of the different manufacturing process. So yeah, right now they're making them an up to 32 gigabytes, but they have said that they are ready and willing and everything's good to go, and they can make 128 gigabyte DIMMs whenever someone needs them. So right now I need quad channel with 128 gigabyte DIMMs. Samsung or whatever, send me some. Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd like some as well, please. Add it to my Christmas list.
Someone in the forum hopped in there and just asked a simple question like, why would anyone ever need more than 32 gigabytes of memory? And my answer was Autodesk, 3D rendering. But what are some other applications? I guess if you're running a web server, of course. But if you're a home end user, why would you need more than 32 gigabytes of memory at this day and age?
Right now, there's not really a lot that a home user would need more than 32 gigabytes of memory. What I see happening in the next, I mean, this could happen in the next couple of years. It might happen in the next year, but it probably will happen in the next 5 years. With like Steam in-home streaming and the proliferation of tablets and computers, devices other than computers, it's too slow. Like you guys remember the OnLive thing where you play games over the internet and it streams? Internet's too crappy in America. It's just not going to happen. Even with their own Skyrim on Surface, it's just too crappy. It's not going to happen. But Steam in-home streaming, your machine is right next to you, basically, and there's tons of bandwidth from that machine. So I think we're going to see, like, quote-unquote home appliances or home servers or something with graphics cards. And, you know, if you want to play on your laptop, or if you want to play on the living room PC, or you want to play on, you know, something else, you want to go outside with your tablet, you know, and you know, play some video games there, you'll be able to. And the machine like the machine in the closet somewhere in your house is going to be doing all the work. And this is kind of related to that. I think that in those kind of situations, maybe 32 gigs makes sense, because maybe two people are going to be playing a game at the same time, or you get a couple virtual machines running, or somebody's playing a game and somebody else is, you know, doing some number crunching or downloading some data or something like that. But in a home context right now, 32 gig, really, I mean, it'd be interesting. That's probably a pretty good question for the audience.
If you guys are using more than 32 gigabytes, let us know what you guys are doing. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at one of the first transformers that actually transforms from a transformer. That makes no sense. It transforms from a robot into a car. And it does it very slowly. When it's a robot, it can walk at a blazing 1 kilometer per hour. But when it's a car, it speeds up to a mind-melting 10 kilometers per hour. There it is, very impressive. They need a little bit of work before they make it something that's going to make any sense. But hey, it's cool, so we're going to look at it. I'm just going to watch it long enough to make sure we get a copyright strike again. There we go.
This came from Japan, right?
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Why am I not surprised?
Yep. All right, let's talk about
knocking buildings down.
About 20 minutes, I think. I just got to call John over in Japan and tell him to go with Plan X. All right. Anyway, let's talk about China for just a minute. So China's preparing a moon mission, and the reason I want to mention this is it's a privately funded moon mission, but one of the goals of this moon mission is, I mean, of course they want to go up there and they want to get moon rock and that sort of thing and bring it back and do things with it and all that, but one of the main goals with this is they want to get people, just regular people, excited about space exploration, because that's going to encourage them to go into science and mathematics, and then that makes the infrastructure of the country better. That makes everything better. The space program's better. Just science and math are where it's at, man. Take a look at Scandinavia. They know what's up. So,
and that's what Elon Musk was saying too. It's like, hey, America should encourage science and math, because that's how we improve things.
You know, there's a documentary that just came out not too long ago about American schools, and it is very sad. I think the name of the documentary is like, American Schools, Why Are They the More Stupidest Ever? Or something of that nature. But no, it's sad. Not really. It's all up to the... Never mind. All right. See this picture here? This is actually a projection from a new city close to Dubai. It's sort of what they're going to be building down there. Actually, no, it's not. It's a picture from SimCity, and it's just funny because the Dubai Metro City project used this as, you know, part of their cityscape. It's a picture from SimCity, and they were like, let's just use this and tell everyone that, hey, this is, you know, the cityscape that we're going to be developing right here. And yeah, I mean, what do they think? They think that, you know, they could just take it into a boardroom. Maybe they could get away with it there. But if they put it online and saying like, "Hey, this is the city we're going to build," did they think that maybe one person out of all those people, maybe one of them played SimCity and would have been like, "Wait a minute, I know this is from SimCity." Maybe they figured that the SimCity debacle was so bad that no one actually played the game, so they could get away with using artwork from the game. That's probably what it was.
That's probably, it's like, there's only 3 other people that played SimCity. I could totally use a screenshot from this. It'll be fine.
It's pretty, though. I mean, it's a hell of a skyline. Looks like something in China right now, but yeah. All right, China, let's move on over to Korea. If you guys have a dog, and you love your dog, and you want to clone your dog when your dog is about to die, well, you can do so now in Korea for only $100,000. That's creepy to me. That's really creepy. You know, I had a roommate when I lived in New York, and his cat died, and he bought like the identical cat like the day after it died, and that always was weird to me. You know, it's like, it's dead, let it go, man. It's dead, just let it go. But even if you do get a different dog, or a dog that's cloned, I don't think the personality is going to be 100% the same unless you really train them in exactly the same way. I mean, a lot of different things influence personality. Of course, it is genetic to some extent. You have some things built into genetic, like, I don't know, different things. But a lot of the personality, and studies have shown this, a lot of personalities do come from your background. But, not as much. I don't know. I guess that's the more minor thing. But it will be slightly different. It will be a slightly different dog. I don't know. Genetics do a lot for personality. I'm going back and forth right now with myself and internally. Do genetics really matter that much for personality? I think it pretty much is like 80% genetics, 20% surroundings. I forget what it is. I'm making all this up. Every statistic you hear on the internet is 100% accurate. Just remember that. 80% of the time.
It turns out that people have studied this with orphans who were twins, and did they go to the same house or different houses? And there are papers on this that we could actually go read and talk about, but instead we'll just sort of mock the guy in the article that's like, I cloned my dog and now I've got 2 of them, and it's like having 2 of my dog. And it's like, great insight there, fella.
All right, we got a couple things to mention as far as gaming goes. There it is. ARMA 3 is free this weekend, so if you haven't played it, go ahead and play it. And I'm going to recommend to maybe play the original game, ARMA 3, for a day, and then explore the mods. There are so many ridiculous mods out for ARMA 3, and I don't actually have this game. I just got it actually, but so now I have it, but I haven't had this game. So I mean, it's like every time I load up a level, it's like, oh, this is not a deathmatch. This is a I'm on a racing track. Oh, this is like a triathlon or something. I don't know. Everything I load up is like a different thing. And actually, Pistol's been playing, and I've been watching her load up some stuff, and it's all like, what is she loading up? So I'll load it up again later and see what comes out of it. All right, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with Paranautical Activity. So Paranautical Activity was an old school styled first-person shooter with some what was it? I guess some pixel art graphics. And it's also a roguelike. It's got every freaking, cool thing going on for it right now. But it was supposed to come out on Steam. It was greenlit, and it's got some old school gameplay, kind of like Doom and all that. But it was supposed to come out on Steam. And the day that it was released, the caption on the bottom said, right here, now available in early access right there. And it was not early access. It was actually a full game for $8.49. It was on sale. And the developer here, Mike, went insane, as you can see here, and he made one of the biggest mistakes in his life. He said, I am going to kill Gabe Newell. He is going to die. And he said that on Twitter. And as soon as he said that on Twitter, I decided I better follow this guy because this is going to be hilarious. And it was hilarious. Throughout the rest of the day, I saw a lot of self-loathing from him. I've already missed it all now, but my favorite one was, today I learned a lot of people have Twitter accounts. That was my favorite one. Today I learned a lot of people have Twitter accounts. So I think it was very smart that his partner, if you looked at his partner's, Twitter feed, and his partner was like, hey, why are the journalists yelling at me? What did I do? I didn't do anything. So as of October 21st, the other guy who was making making the game totally left the company. So I believe that's this guy here.
Pretty much the only course of action there when you lose your mind and go insane. So
yeah, Gabe Newell just completely pulled the game off of. Well, I'm not sure if it's Gabe or who it was, but the game was completely pulled off Steam. So that's how not to deal with something like that. What you do in a situation like that is you email Steam and you're like, hey man, you guys just put my game live, but could you remove the early access thing because it's not cool. It's regular. It's a full version of the game. And one of the other tweets that I thought was exceptionally funny was he was like, wow, we've sold 12 copies of the game today on various websites. We were selling 12 copies of the game per minute on Steam. So, yeah. I think he might have learned his lesson. Maybe.
Soviet Russia, Gabe, deaths you.
Yes. I don't know. The worst part is I kind of wanted to play that game. I was like, oh, check out this game. I was like, oh, it's gone. I'll wait for it on Good Old Games, but not Mike, or not Murderbeck. Mike, not Murderbeck. You are... this guy's going to go down in history up there with, like, what's his name from Fez? I forgot his name. As one of the most hated developers of all time. And, yeah, that's pretty much the end of the show. So, here's what's going to happen now. The tech is going to evolve a bit. It's going to get a little bit shorter. This one we just did a bunch of articles, but what we're going to do from now on is we're going to talk about one main thing and then talk about a few other articles. And next week, the main thing is going to be 3D printing. We want to hear from you guys. And we want to hear from some other people who do a lot of 3D printing. Wendell does a lot of 3D printing. But I think Barnacules does possibly more. I'm not sure.
A lot more. I'm sure that he does.
Probably does. So we decided to have Barnacules on. So next week we're gonna have Barnacules on with us, and we're gonna talk to him about the future of 3D printing, what it's gonna mean for the world. And we're not talking about, like, you know, next year. We're talking about, like, down the road. We're gonna sit back and we're gonna speculate. And we want to know what you guys think about 3D printing. How is it going to impact the world in 5, 10, 15, maybe 20, 25 years? How is it going to change things? Are they going to become a household item? Is everyone going to have one? Are they going to, you know, are they going to change over and become, like, used for foods? And are they going to be shipped to countries to, you know, for people to print out their own meals and that sort of thing? Let us know what you think. And put it in the comments on our forum, and we will read that, read some of your comments on the air, and then Wendell, Barnacules, and I will sit down and talk about it all. So we will see you guys on the forum. Thanks very much for tech support and all that. You guys are awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See you next time.